almost 100,000 employees in Clark. Around 183 to 190 billion pesos investment, and additional commitment of 50 billion peso investment this coming year. And Clark export comprise 67% of the total export of Central Luzon, or Region 3, amounting to $8.9 billion. And this is it. This is us, Mike. This is the Clark Aviation Complex, more or less 2,367 hectares. The terminal at Clark used to be called MAC Terminal, meaning MAC, Military Airlift Command, for U.S. dependents and military personnel. Today, it's known as Clark International Airport with the Diosdado Macapagal. It's known as CRK, the IATA code. That's why you will notice when you see your ticket CRK, means Clark. IATA is the one giving the code. If it's MNL, it's Manila. The capacity of the present terminal is 4.2 million per annum. Today, these are the number of our lease agreement, and our biggest locator is GGDC here. And our biggest sub-lessee is the Medical City. Thank you, Mike. I went with Mike in Kuwait many years ago when we met with the top officers and owner of the corporation in Kuwait, Al Sabah. And the total number of flights so far we generated last year is more than 6,000 and close to 1 million passengers. This is it, the 2,300. Let me ask you to take a second look, third look at here. The entire area is 2,367. If I mentioned earlier what is Clark before, the last slide is Clark today. This is what we hope to accomplish in the future for Clark Aviation Complex. We have a master plan here drawn by the Airport de Paris Incorporated. It was donated by the French government to the Philippine government during the past administration, and the French government commissioned the Airport de Paris, the one who built many aviation complexes, not only in France, but in other countries in Europe. And it was given to us pro bono. And we're using it. This is divided into 4 phases, starting this year until the next 20 to 40 years from today. The first phase. This is the existing terminal, the one in circle in red. And then this is the proposed building of the second terminal with a distance between the two of them of 1 kilometer. This new terminal building is 8 million passenger capacity per annum. We have to commission the second runway. Some are wondering why we did decommission the second runway. The second runway was last utilized when the Americans were still here. It was mainly utilized by military planes. The distance between the existing runway now and the one that was decommissioned was around 400 meters. ICAO standard rule, it should be no less than 1 kilometer apart. The existing is 400, and that's why we are going to decommission it in order to establish a taxiway that would link directly to the existing main runway. And then we will build secondary access road leading to SETEC so that you need not enter the main zone to and from your destination. And then the transport terminal hub outside the air side, in the land side. That is the first phase. 5 to 7 years later, this would be the second phase. We will expand the 8 million under the master plan capacity per annum. We will double it to 16 and build another terminal across it to make a 22 million passenger capacity for these two, because the design of the terminal is modular. It can be expanded as the need arises. Then of course, we have dedicated areas here, few hectares here for express freight terminal. That's why we're inviting, I hope we could invite FedEx to move back to Clark. Originally they were in Subic, went to China. Then we hope to negotiate with them, see if there's possibility for them to come back in the Philippines, specifically in Clark, while we are hosting some of the planes of UPS. And then there is a provision near your area, the cargo, dedicated cargo terminal, and then the maintenance, repair, and overall. We have with us the SIA Engineering, jointly owned by Singapore Airlines and Cebu Pacific, for maintenance, repair, and overall of narrowed bodied, and they are about to start building the hangar for repair of wide body, including Airbus 380. And then here, lately, it's controversial. Most of the general aviation, the light planes, choppers, etc., are being discouraged to move elsewhere from NAIA in order to decrease the number of slotting and ultimately decreasing the air traffic in Metro Manila. And then we have provision here about 20 to 30 hectares for the FBO, or what we call the General Aviation Terminal pattern after Hong Kong and Singapore. The board has instructed the management to come up with a feasibility study and then subject the same for possible funding, either general appropriation or under BOTOL scheme, or what was more popular known as PPP. And then we shall build a second runway. The first in main runway, and then the second runway. The distance between the main primary runway now and the secondary runway is 1.3 kilometers. Wide space in order to accommodate simultaneous takeoff and landing. And that is the second phase. Of the first phase, the President is committed, before he steps down from office, the completion of the first phase, the building of a new terminal, and 5 to 7 years thereafter, this would be the second phase. And then the third phase, to 46 million passenger capacity. We will expand the express freight terminal, expansion of the MRO facility, expansion of the cargo facilities, including the expansion of the general aviation terminal. And then from 20 million plus, we would increase it, we will make it into 46 million passengers capacity with multiple terminals. And then the development of more than 200 hectares northeast of the aviation complex for mixed use, industrial, real estate, logistics, warehousing, and any other needs in the future by the growth and the development of the aviation complex. And then finally, I hope, since the gentleman a while ago explained about millennials, I'm not entertaining any idea that I will still be around by that time. But this will be around 20 to 30 years from now. But some of you, I am pretty sure, I hope, you will still remember me by then, when this will become a reality. An 80 million passenger capacity terminal, and the third runway. This is for you, Mike, near your area, the third runway. And then, of course, expansion and further expansion of existing facilities within the civil aviation complex. That's the proposed 80 million passenger capacity with multiple terminals, 4 terminals. Is this possible? We have to remember, NAIA's terminal capacity, there are 4 terminals in NAIA, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The capacity of those terminals is around 30 million passengers. I don't know if you're aware that they were able to generate to more or less 39 million passengers last year. And that, what does that indicate? What does that mean? That's why perhaps you have experienced many times in the past, not only in the air, but in the terminal as well, the traffic, the congestion. Sometimes you come from a domestic destination, suddenly it will be announced by the carrier staff that you have to hold on for a while. If it's only about 10 to 15 minutes, you can forgive them, but sometimes it takes more than that, an hour or 2. While you're coming from a foreign destination, you will be asked by the tower to hold, you know. They call it your circling. But sometimes, might be in danger of running out of fuel, they will ask you to divert to Clark. That is the situation now. Most of them comes from the total catchment population of southern Metro Manila, up to the farthest province in southern Tagalog, up to Bicol. 30 million, that is their catchment population. Now, is Clark Airport viable? Of course, sir, ma'am, it is. The catchment population of Region 1 in Ilocos, Cagayan Valley, Central Luzon, and the Cordillera Autonomous Region is 21 million. And if you include the northern Metro Manila, the Camanaba area, Caloocan, Malabon, Navotas, and Valenzuela, some of our passengers comes from this area. Why? According to them, it is faster to drive from that area to Clark rather than from Camanaba to Naya. That is why we are going to concentrate on this catchment population. If you're going to ask us why we barely made 1 million, why do we want to build another terminal since we have not yet maximized the capacity of the present terminal? It's very simple. The growth of travelers, according to aviation experts, would increase every year at least 5%. An estimated 100 million Chinese alone will be going out of China in the next 5 to 10 years. We barely welcome few hundred thousands of them. The number 1 tourist arrival in the Philippines are Americans and Koreans. For the first time, our country, Philippines, was able to generate 5 million tourist arrival. Compare it with Thailand. Even at the height of the political turmoil in Thailand a few years ago, they averaged 30 million tourist arrival. Malaysia, 20. We were overtaken by Vietnam already, by 4 million. I will not be surprised if 1 year or 2 from now, Laos will overtake Philippines. What can you expect from Laos, from those pagodas and the Siem Reap? We have so many things to offer in our country. That is why we have to move, we have to build, we have to build. It is the responsibility of our government to build. Because when you build, we believe in the mantra, build and they shall come. Could you imagine, let me go back to that. We're not an industrialized country. We have considered ourselves an agricultural country, but most of the time we even import our agricultural needs. We have to develop tourism. According to some study, every traveler who spent at least 2 weeks abroad, he spent at least $1,000. Let's take the case of Thailand. Why is Thailand progressing? 30 million times $1,000 a year. How much is that? 30 billion. $30 billion multiplied by 40 baht. That's 1,200,000,000 baht in the country, circulating. 1,200,000,000,000. If that is peso, that is equivalent to 1,200,000,000,000 pesos. If we can generate 30 million passengers per annum. Is that possible? Yes, it is. We're going to build, and build, and not just concentrate the development in Metro Manila. That's why the present dispensation under President Duterte provided an impetus when he included Clark full development of its airport before he steps down from office. And what do we have now? We're happy to inform you that these are the latest flight in Clark now. The Philippine Airlines recently joined us last December 16, daily flight to Katiklan, Boracay, a tourist destination. And then last month to Korea in June. Their other domestic destinations are Cebu and Davao. Come March, we expect we would like to welcome you when you want to fly to Busuanga, Coron, and Puerto Princesa. And then AirAsia is coming back to resume their flight to Calibo and other regional destinations. I just met this morning with top official of Philippine Airlines, and we're discussing the possibility that they will mount some of their flights here going to North America from Clark. I will be leaving next week to meet with other owners of regional carriers for additional flight perhaps in Singapore, and then going to this area from these several continents, Asia, Europe, from Africa, from North and South America. You can fly to Clark via these carriers. Oceania, we have daily flights to Incheon. Cebu Pacific, they fly to Hong Kong, Macau, Singapore, their domestic flight in Cebu. Dragonair, owned by Cathay Pacific, 6 days a week in Hong Kong. Jinair, they fly to Busan, that is the southern part of South Korea, and also in Incheon. The Emirates, so it's near from Middle East to Europe. Daily flights to Dubai, Qatar to from Doha, and then our main flag carrier, Philippine Airlines, AirAsia, and then Tiger Air. These our flights in Clark. We also have, in preparation for our freight terminal, we are host to UPS and technical staff from FedEx. And the connectivity, as I mentioned earlier, you can attest to this, that it's faster, much easier, more convenient to drive from Quezon City to Clark because of ECTEC and connection of NLEX to ECTEC, and then the Tiplex. I spoke before a similar gathering in Baguio about 2 weeks ago. It only took me 1 hour and 45 minutes from Clark to reach Baguio. I'm not going to mention how many times I was apprehended along the way. And then, because of Tiplex. And then, the Tarlac-Nevesia Aurora Expressway. These are the road, the connectivity from Clark to Northern Luzon and from Clark to Metro Manila. And then, this is also the commitment of President Duterte to connect Metro Manila to Clark by railway, and then to connect Clark to Subic, the logistic hub. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is my brief presentation. Perhaps you might accuse me of a dreamer. I'm just dreaming. You know, it's less expensive to dream. Isn't it, Mike? It's less expensive to dream. This is my dream. It has always been my dream to see Clark to be fully developed. I was born and raised about 1 kilometer away from here. I am not going to hide my previous life political orientation. If there were 1,000 rallies and demonstrations in front of the former U.S. military bases in Clark or in Subic, I was either a speaker, organizer, MC, or whatever you call it. I was still then a very young student. I was in college. I believe then, as I do now, and more so in the future, that the future of Clark lies not in hosting military bases, but transforming it into civilian purposes. And it happened. I dreamt that before. That's why today, it's a Freeport zone. At the height of the U.S. involvement in the U.S.-Vietnam War, the total number of employees in St. Clark was around 17,000. Today, it's close to 100,000. What more in the future? Yes, it is a dream, but I believe, and I would like to quote my favorite spiritual leader who passed away a few years ago, Bishop Dom Elder Camara from South America, when he said this, and I quote, he said, "When you dream alone, you're just dreaming. But when you dream with others, it is the beginning of reality." Ladies and gentlemen, join me in dreaming. In dreaming to see the reality that soon, Clark, when it is fully developed, not only the medical city, not only the GDC, not only the PLDT, but directly or indirectly, all of you here will be benefited. Then Clark will be fully developed, the economy will be fully developed, and it will contribute to the full development of our country. We have no other country except the Philippines. Let us join hands. Let us dream together once more to make it reality. Thank you very much.